So let's take a look at some bad venting applications. So we're going to take a look at the first one. So there's a few pictures here on this particular image that we're looking at. You can see there's a draft hood water heater, and I'm going to point out the draft hood, which is right up on top. And of course, that draft hood water heater, as you can see based on the height, the people here that were trying to vent this one ran into a little bit of an issue. So they're typically, when you're venting, you normally want to have things pitched upward so that it makes it easier for the gases to flow out. In this case here, it's not going to happen that way. We're trying to run it into a vent of some sort over here. Not a very good application at all. So that's another dandy that you'll see, and you'd be surprised how often you see things like that. This one is more of a dryer vent application, but as you can tell, the way they ran their flex ducting is so ridiculously restrictive that chances of this actually functioning is probably slim to none. This particular image here, they got a little carried away with their elbows trying to get around things. You can see there's an awful lot of 90s and straights, and oh my goodness gracious. So clearly would have been a little bit of a problem coming from the water heater here. I don't know why they were doing that, but that's what was done. This particular Amana appliance that's installed, again, typically you'd expect the vent pipe to be going upward, but instead this one is flowing downward. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's all wrong if it's necessarily going downward, but the fact that it's going upward here would be concerning. They are using single wall vent pipe in this case, which sometimes could be a problem. They may have switched it over here to the B vent, but again, just kind of a rough application here in this case. This particular smoker is an interesting application in the fact that whatever their vent pipe on the outside of the building is one issue. Right up on top here, you can see that that's somewhat interesting, the fact that you can see the discoloration against the wood. The height is a problem. I don't think they have any issue with heat here. I think their issue is probably just the height and location of it. So, but that's definitely a good country application there. And again, a little closer view of this one, but you gotta figure there's going to be some issues right here. This one here, they did a really nice job of getting the vertical rise in their little heater. I like the nice little green lawn ornament that they have here, and they've got a really nice little duct system that allows the heat to flow into the building, but venting, they actually, it's looking pretty nice. So they've got an interesting little wood boiler. So it's kind of a funny little picture. So this one really takes the cake. I don't know what on earth they were thinking here, but we've got a draft hood appliance that's, you can see a dilution air that's supposed to go in there. Based on the discoloration here, though, that's a little bit concerning. Wondering a little bit about some of that stuff. The other part that's interesting is somewhere along the line they decided to come out of the vent connector on this appliance and use flexible ductwork. And they're going up and over this other vent that's over here that's going somewhere, supplying some heat somewhere, and then they're going back down here. Now, again, into a chimney of some sort with a whole bunch of other appliances. Now, there's some interesting things to point out here. Look at the amount of condensation. Whatever appliance that this is going to, you can really see the condensation on that pipe. The problem with those types of applications like that is that vent pipe, especially this particular one, what'll happen is that thing will rot and just fall apart. And whatever the application or whatever that's being vented, now it's just going to vent inside the building. So a lot of serious issues here in this particular application that are going to create some real safety hazards for anybody, any customer. This one here is another just a total doozy. You can probably figure here's a duct of some sort, whether it's a supplier return, I'm not totally sure, but they ran their vent pipe directly through whether it's a supplier return pipe, which is completely against any types of rules at all. Now, they did try to do a really nice job and use, as you can see, the starting collars. They try to use a starting collar on both sides by the looks of it. That would allow maybe some connection in there, but very interesting application, very dangerous. So here's another one of these that is interesting in the fact that here's an older furnace that is definitely going to be, this one by the looks of it, they definitely are a power vented application. Now they're coming out of this appliance, and then they've got a 90 which is coming back towards us, and they're looping around, and then they're going to connect it back up to the main vent. And by the looks of it, they don't have any type of a proper connector or anything on this vent system. It's very large. And for all I know, this vent system could be going directly up through this. Maybe they're using this as a little duct, as like a barrier protector, but it seems somewhat unlikely. You can also see the amount of condensate that probably ran down this pipe. That's creating a little bit of a problem, but lots of issues here that are really